Hey everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Snapchat. I'm joined today, as we always are, by Cozy Snap. Cozy, we got so much to talk about today. We have these seasons, there's just more cards every single season, so I feel like these discussions go longer and longer each time, which is a great thing, because I like talking to one of my best friends. But we're going to get started with the season pass card of Agamotto, Cozy. We both came in at 5 stars apiece with Agamotto. And there's some interesting things to talk about here statistically and in terms of the pure vibes of Agamotto. What are your thoughts?
Agamotto. No, I think, man, it's such a fun card. Like it's got that going for, we just talked about Infinity Ultron on my side, right? So it's like, we were talking about how that's almost just like a fun card. And this one is fun, but can work, way more consistent. I like the card, though. I think 5... Did we rank it the highest of the month, too?
Yes. Both of us... Actually, last month, our rankings were identical. I can just read them right now. We had the exact same rankings. We did Agamotto, Firehair, Starbrand, Eson, Khonshu, Ghost Rider. Was our ordering just off the top here. But so, yeah, we put Agamotto number 1.
I think I like Agamotto, man. I think Agamotto has got some chops to it in the future as well. What about you?
I think people think he's better than he is. I think that the different effects are disproportionately, they're not nearly the same power. The Winds of Watum are wildly cracked. And it's the primary reason why you play Agamotto.
Yeah, you hope
that's where his win rate comes from. I think the temporal manipulation drawn to his hand probably isn't good enough, despite the fact that it's good in and of itself. And Images of Icon, despite being good, takes a little bit more setup and it's a little too expensive. So I feel like it feels like a 4-star card, but it's actually performing closer to a 2.5 or 3-star card, because you're looking at a win rate that's been fluctuating between 49 and 50% on any given day, Cozy.
Yeah, it's got a low and even more. It's pretty popular. I think it is the Infinity Ultron more competitive version. It's meant to be a fun card, and I think when we saw it in actuality, we've talked about this I think last week, where it's just like adding to the deck in general in a 12-card game is tough, point blank. Yeah. And not only is there counters to that, but then you're really having to stall things out. I think we both thought it was going to be a bit more of like just a good card. I think, what do they call them, value cards, like where you could just like plug it in with other value cards and then there you go. But funny enough, like the good cards deck, obviously Iron Patriot made one again, but those have become less and less as we've evolved through Snap, because the Snap team is focused on getting rid of those more and more. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't just like outright, get rid of Winds of Watum, or at least make it way worse, because there is that RNG factor. It's got its Snap conditions, but overall, I think it'll adjust better when it comes to how it's going to perform in the meta. But yeah, it's not a 5-star card.
Cozy, you nailed it on the... Well, no, you hit the nail on the head, right? It's been so long since we've said that. Because the top-performing shell of Agamotto runs a 54% win rate, and it runs King Eitri. And that's the only non-good card, and the rest are just straight-up good cards, including Galacta, Gwenpool, Shangers, Copycat, etc. And it's like, the deck dilution is a huge component of what makes Agamotto have a bit of a difficult time. And also, you don't know, what effect you're going to draw. You don't know what they're playing. So you can't really consistently rely on Agamotto. And I found the 513 power to be significant, especially since you draw into that. But apparently, statistically, it's not quite performing.
If this were to have the spells go in the hand, it's the best card in the game. I mean, like, that's how big of a difference there is. Okay, maybe not the best card in the game, but it's like the level of value it goes up if it were to add those spells right to your hand. It's just like night and day. So anytime you dilute the deck, it's just tough. Hoping for better days for Agamotto.
Absolutely. And I do think the card will age well, because it has a lot of dials. You have multiple physical cards that you can change, right? And so there's going to be opportunities for them to tweak Agamotto. I think the tricky part for it, though, is if they buff it, I think people will lose their mind, because they think it feels better than it really is. And I bet you Secondar's in a tricky spot. Next up is Eson. Eson, for us, we came in pretty low. We came in at 3s. Both of us gave it 3 stars. It's running a 47% win rate at a 10% popularity, which is quite low, and that's a 30-day average, infinite only. One of the key challenges here is that late in the Khonshu experimental stage, it was realized and figured out that the second and third stages of Khonshu can be pulled by Eson. And so now there's like, as we're recording, that is only beginning to get cooked.
Yeah.
So like, I want to put a little asterisk here that Eson, if it can be found to have a cook with Khonshu, it raises both of them because it's actually a really insane interaction.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Corvus Glaive to get the energy, so then you've got it to be played early. Like, it's the perfect thing to happen. I think it's so clever and fun. I think we nailed it on Eson though, mainly. Like, I think he came out a little hotter than we thought he might, but then as things have adjusted, we said it was going to be a very good Airsham card and it was going to be okay in ramp. And like, that's about where it's settled. But to be fair, so many cards come out. It has the future ahead of it. I think it's a cool card. I think it's a very fun card. I think I would give it better than a 3 though, but not by a lot.
No, honestly, it probably is a 3. I mean, we're looking at a 47% win rate right now. And it's some type stats, so there's some variability in that. But also, like the Kahori decks, which are going to be focusing on hand gen, they might want Eson. And Eson might be a good closer in a deck like that, right? Because you're going to be working with a lot of created cards. Maybe a Victoria Hand, Eson, Kahori deck starts to see some play, and then all of a sudden, it's a relevant piece, right? It's kind of sad that, like, the effect... I don't want to say that like it's random enough that it can be added to like Infinity Ultron, right? But it's like, I wonder about like how many hoops you got to jump through to make Eson legitimately play. Is it good enough just to play him on turn 6, right? In the Khonshu decks, it seems like it might be, because if you've discarded Khonshu at least once, then he just pulls down the Khonshu, who then pulls down someone else, which is kind of interesting. But he just feels like you're jumping through a lot of hoops for a 6/10 that might pull something decent.
Yeah, and Airsham is like settled into his role now a bit more of what he's going to be. Obviously, like Loki getting changed, brought some new sparks and flames to it. But yeah, we'll see how Eson adjusts. But there are cards that can help it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about cards that can help it in the future, sometimes all you need is a little bit of buff. And Starbrand, okay, was actually like the card I was most excited for the entire month, because I was like so excited to play Sauron again. It's an archetype that I was sorely missing from the game. And Starbrand, I rated a 4. You also agreed. We both gave it 4s. And it underperformed. I remember our review, we were both kind of sad about it. We were discussing it on the Snapchat. And even when I was testing it, I saw its potential, but it was awkward in the fact that Sauron and Starbrand occupied the same slot. And so Starbrand was being used as a turn 6 closer, where, before you used to do like a Taskmaster Ebony Maw. Now it was Starbrand plus something else. So you're running Zabu in that deck and you're trying all this different stuff. It created this really weird archetype that felt like a shell of its former self. And then, as we have so predicted, Cozy, Sauron gets brought down to a 2/2. And suddenly, the card completely changes. And Starbrand did not get buffed, Cozy. Sauron did. The card went from like a 48% win rate. It's currently running over the last, few days since the patch, 53.2% win rate. 53.2%. That is a massive change because of Sauron.
Can you imagine if Taskmaster stayed the same too? I mean, that deck would be just flying, I feel like. I mean, it adds its own identity now, but yeah, I agree. That was the main thing. Just, we talked about it with Move, how there's a lot of cards in contention at that 3 cost slot. So Sauron being 3 was the main problem there, with just trying to set things up, and now this just makes it all the much easier because it affects the hand of the deck, and it was just a perfect change, especially for Starbrand within the month, for the month. I mean, that's like, that, you would have thought they, I think they wanted to see how it did, and then they would do it. Sometimes we get proactive changes to a card, and then the new card comes out and we're like, oh, that's why they did it. And sometimes the new card comes out, then they do the OTA to fix. That was the case here, and we've already talked about it. I mean, Sauron is, we'll see if it even lasts because it's that good, at least right now. So but yeah, Starbrand ends up, unfortunately though, the buff coming a little late, because then people that now are loving the Sauron change, they'll have to wait for snap packs.
I know that is one of the challenges of the buff happening as soon as the card leaves the collection track, the spotlight cache, as one might say. So yeah, that's absolutely huge. But it's also a very good note of saying that, like, sometimes it's hard to evaluate cards in a vacuum, because Starbrand itself, that's a huge swing in terms of win rate, and it had nothing to do with Starbrand.
Yep.
It was the archetype, the deck it's being played in, the supporting cards that got changed. It's like trying to evaluate Devil Dinosaur if it was to come out now. Do you evaluate Devil Dinosaur, or are you evaluating the shield archetype? And that's kind of the similar thing what happened there. So Starbrand, we gave it 4s. It did underperform that 4 status, but it definitely feels like it's back there now that Sauron has been buffed. And that Sauron deck, as of recording, by the way, 59% win rate on 1,500 games on Untapped. 59%. And that's post-infinite, according to the Untapped most recent patch, which is insane. The next card. This is a card that goes by many names. Forehand, Forehead, Firehair, Firehand. It's come to the point, Cozy. I see people call it Firehand all the time. And I don't even blink. It doesn't even faze me because her hand is on fire. I gotta tell you, the art, her hand's on fire. Her hair looks totally fine. Firehair, Cozy, we came in hot. We both came in at 5s. We actually broke our rule. We gave multiple 5s here. And we're looking at a card that from release is running a 46% win rate. Cozy, I'm in pain looking at Firehair.
Yeah, but I also don't care. Ajax had a bad one. What was it? Misery had a bad. It's because you're cooking, you're playing with fire. That's what these mill decks like to do. That's where it is at a lot. It took a little bit of time. It took like a lot of fire to figure out what truly sticks. And obviously that was some of the Thor synergy we saw. You know, Destroy actually likes it. Even in Thanos, it's not doing bad. So, like, I think it is a card that performs fine, and it has the world ahead of it because of what it's done. So I don't give a damn about the stats on Fire. I think it's still a good card.
I was going to say the exact same thing. This is not cope. Like, I'm not coping. It's not like, oh, Alex and Cozy gave this card a high rating and they're coping, whatever. No. I think that if you rolled on that week, which was still an insane week anyways, then you got a card that's going to age like literal fine wine. This is going to be the Courvoisier of fine beverages. Like, this card is going to age so beautifully. Oak barrel aged. This is going to be you heard it here, man. This card's going to be an absolute beauty. And even just in the next coming, not this month, but potentially the month after, we got some data mines of like Kid Omega and Elixir and cards that are going to be directly synergistic with this Destroy card coming in and etc. So Firehair is going to be immediately getting some support in the next few months. And already you're starting to see some cooks come out. Now, you're right. You called the Thanos one. The Thanos Misery Shell is really interesting. I thought it was really awesome. It's very fun to play. And Firehair has a definite role in that deck. It's a very good tech support piece there. So anyways, I wouldn't worry too much if you got it because you're going to be happy you have it because there's going to come a point in time where you're going to be very glad the Firehair is in your collection. Going to the next card, this is one of the more recent ones here, and it's Khonshu. Khonshu was one that we were particularly excited for. First of all, the design's brilliant. Let's be honest. Design's brilliant. But Cozy, how did it land for you?
Okay, so you gave it a 3, right? And the recent ratings, you gave it a 3. I love Khonshu. I think Khonshu is everything I want in Marvel Snap. I think it's fun. I think it's now obviously the Eson thing, you got that cooking and stuff, but I think it did what I wanted it to do with the pinnable discard, brought that back a little bit, got a little bit of the Hella Sizzle. I think is just more of a I like it in the role that I thought I was going to play. It's a hella popular card. It's crazy how popular Khonshu is amongst, at least from what I've seen. I like it. I think it's fine. I think it fits the archetype right. I think it's a fun card to experiment with, and I just damn well think it's one of the more enjoyable cards to play this season, especially.
Beautifully well designed. I think it's a ton of fun as well.
Yeah.
I came in at 3. You came in at 4. It's running a 49% win rate. And that's not great, but also a lot of cooking happening. And it is sometimes the most recent card, like we don't have enough data on because it is the one that just released. And I would expect this to improve over time. What I found very interesting, Cozy, was that the top performing decks for Khonshu are literally dependable discard. There's no Gores in them. There's no Iron Men in them.
The win rate's through the roof. I knew this would happen too. Remember, I was like, all the cute stuff was going to be like the testing week. People were going to do Iron Man, Silver Samurai. I knew it was going to come down to discard doing what it does best. Just good old dependable discard doing its thing. The hella win rate, I think, is the only thing hurting this thing on the stat department. I think if people just played dependable, this thing would be like mid-50s. Not mid, maybe like...
Yeah, because the dependable version is running a 56% win rate.
That's correct.
Its cube rate's on the 0.23 side, which is kind of on the low side. But, like, it is good. Like, you can't argue it. And I think the thing that, like, I realized was, yes, I liked hitting Silver Samurai into Gore and stuff like that. Those pop-offs were really nice. It was awesome. But, like, just bringing back, like, a 12-power Culling Wing that hits the Scorn again, that gets hit by the Dracula and it's like a 12 power or whatever. Like all that stuff is just fine too. You know what I mean? Like getting a massive Gambit coming back for another swing when you bring him back, like all that stuff is just fine because it's just pure stats. And the thing I appreciated about Khonshu was the way the text was written was it goes into another location. So you could somewhat control you 50-50 the location by, well, if I play Khonshu, it's going to be going into those one other two. So you had this really balanced attack of power. So it was legitimately 24 power spread. It was never going to fall into your own location. So you had this element of control of where the power went, which I appreciated.
You got to watch the show, man. It's worth your time. I'm telling you, it's a good one.
We're still making our way through the Daredevil series, sir.
And it's going to be, I know, 2027 is when you're going to be done with that. But I do, when 2028 hits, you should definitely watch it.
So while I was streaming, I mentioned this. So one of my absolute favorite comics that I absolutely love is the Only Myself Left to Conquer Kang series. It's like the reason why I love Kang. If you have not read those, you have to, Cozy. They are awesome. Awesome.
I need to.
And in them, and I don't mean this to be a spoiler, it's a very minor thing, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anybody, but in them, Moon Knight's there. Except Moon Knight, and I said this on stream, and I was like, you're wrong, whatever. And then we got fact-checked, and I was right, vindicated. Moon Knight was Ravonna Renslayer. And I was like, that was kind of cool. In the comics, she was Ravonna, and I mean, Kang tends to find Ravonna everywhere, and I think that's one of the challenges of the character, right? But I am really interested in seeing the Moon Knight, and maybe it's the next one we go through. Is it similar to Daredevil? Like, is it a little more grounded down to earth, or is it a little more sci-fi?
Both. I think it's a solo series, which is nice, and I think that I think your wife will enjoy it if she likes. I don't know what she watched. I know like she's like a Love Is Blind kind of, but if she likes Daredevil, I think she would like this. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, Cozy. And talking about discard, the first Ghost Rider. And this card is the one that was obviously free in high voltage. If you were free to play, you unlocked it like approximately on the Tuesday, right? Because it was so weird. They released the high voltage on the Friday, which was such a strange day to release it on. And then by Tuesday, you almost had it unlocked for Khonshu. I was like 1 or 2 refreshes away. This card's not performing good,
This card
Cozy.
died when the Goblin Theory died with it. The negative.
I know.
Edition.
The Goblin Theory. That's like the book Cozy's writing.
Yeah, dude, this card sucks. I mean, it just doesn't even make the final cut, unfortunately. Now, will it have a time? I don't know. It's got potentially text that could age fine, but I don't think. It's too hyper competitive, man. I think it's like because you discard like it's got hits it can work off of, but I think it needs a higher power base to even get it worth the risk of running it over just certified value.
It's like it feels overcooked. Like the text is like needlessly complex. It's like what are we even doing at this point?
Yeah.
And you're right. It's running a 44% win rate, man. Like that is awful. That's so bad. It's so bad. And this was a card. Was it not 2.6 before?
Yeah.
And they brought it down to 2.5. It kind of breaks the whole theory of like maybe they're always like, buffing the cards that are broken or the bad cards. I don't know. They nerfed this card and it came out dog water. So that kind of breaks that up a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day, Cozy, what would you say to our final rankings of Agamotto, Firehair, Starbrand, Eson, Khonshu, Ghost Rider?
Who do you have as one?
You know what? I'm willing to. It feels like Agamotto is near one.
I think,
but I bet you with the change to Sauron, Starbrand's probably gonna end up being the best.
I think I'm gonna go Agamotto 1.
Yeah. I do. At the end of the day, I think Ghost Rider being at the bottom is correct. I think Khonshu probably needs to slide up. I don't know, man. I like when we talk about all these cards, they all have. I feel like they have bright futures. Like Agamotto, I feel is good. Firehair has a great future. Starbrand is great now that the buff happened. Eson, I think, is very combo centric and still has potential. Khonshu, I think we're still figuring it out. Like these are all cards that are still good.
Yeah,
except for Ghost Rider,
this is a tough one to rank. Yeah, this is a tough one to rank. I would have Khonshu. It's like Khonshu in the role that he's played, I like better than a lot of these. Firebrand. There's another name. There's another name for it. Firehair. Has just great potential in the future, so I'm going to have that one go close to the top as well. You're right, man. I think this is one of the tougher ones to rank just because of how they all play their roles in the decks that they're in.
Absolutely. And Cozy, we got to take a moment here. to talk about the new card acquisition model of Marvel Snap, and that is the Snap Packs. Cozy, it's a major upgrade to the card acquisition model. This has been something that's been a pain point for the longest time for players. And I'm so happy that the Marvel Snap team at Second Dinner has legitimately taken a lot of feedback from the community and recognized that the card acquisition model was something that had to be improved, not only for the future health of the game, but to potentially bring some players back. We have catch-up mechanics involved. We have a new form of kind of, card release schedule and etc. And let's just quickly go through a couple of the main points here. Now, first of all, when is this going to be coming out? They're aiming for April 29th or June 3rd. Now, what you'll note is that those are like month separated, right? Like it's either the most recent patch coming or the patch after that. And that's fine. Like, honestly, if they are going to be releasing it on June 3rd, if they need the extra time to refine some of the bugs, which, man, there are so many bugs in Snap right now. I don't know what's going on. Take the time, get it right. That's no problem, and that's all good. But let's talk about some of the quick overview stuff here. I'm going to read this directly from the blog, and I'll also provide a link to the blog down in the description below. But right off the top here, there's going to be a dedicated card shop where you'll find the card packs. Each card pack will guarantee one unowned card with no duplicates and have due bonus rewards. The bonus rewards can be additional cards, it can be variants, cosmetics, or currencies like tokens, boosters, or credits. It sounds like there's going to be odds depending on it, so it's like kind of like a grab bag of different goodies. You get one unowned card for sure, and then a percentage chance of goodies, variants, and stuff like that. You're gonna have spotlight cards and rotatable pinnable cards, just like you have today. So I guess there's gonna be like a card you can pin if you want to spend tokens on it directly. The login bonuses will now be tokens, not credits. Now I don't know if that'll be specific. Like, that makes it sound to me like they're taking the credits out, they're adding the tokens in. It won't be like you won't have the option of both. It's not both,
tokens,
right?
Yeah.
And then there's going to have token packs where you can purchase tokens right from the shop using gold. And I think the idea of this new system, Cozy, is they did mention that they want returning players who have missed multiple seasons to have an opportunity to catch up. And we'll discuss the individual packs in a second. New players will be able to use packs to pick up on cards that they're trying to isolate to build the decks they're trying to build. And then obviously the veteran players will be able to, not waste rewards or their progress stuff by getting dupes and stuff like that, which was absolutely huge. With regards to each of the individual packs, you have the new Series 5 pack, which is going to include all the Series 5 cards from the current season and one prior season. So the way I read that, and again, we're short on some details. Like, this is kind of like an overview blog. We don't have the details yet. That sounds like you have a chance to roll whatever's in this current season plus the prior season.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Sounds like, yeah.
And then new Series 4 packs, which includes all Series 4 cards from the current and previous 2 seasons. That makes it sound like they might be releasing more Series 4 cards in the future, which is worth noting, and also keeps into account 2 prior seasons. And then finally, you'll have the collector's packs, which will have Series 3, 4, and 5 cards. And these will be the older cards that don't meet the metrics of the prior 2 packs. They're designed for catching up, and they'll have cards that are unique and not include the cards from the upper 2 packs. For instance, the Series 5 will be the prior month. The Series 4 will be the prior 2 months. If that sounded confusing at all, that's because there's a lot to it, Cozy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, I want to shout out a Reddit user. Their name is Zero Skill Samus. First of all, great Melee name. I'm going to get that. Alex, you need to put this graphic up the entire time you were talking there. Hopefully, you'll see this in post-editing, guys. Because this graphic, I think, at least gives you like a way to visualize what we're talking about here. And does a great job just like converting like literally tokens to spotlight keys right now and what is going to fall in which pack. The great step, and like this is cool. There's so much to break down here, right? Like, first of all, there's so many friends I had in the past 2 years that just wanted to pick up Snap and throw a bunch of money at it and get the cards. It's like they couldn't do that, right, without weird stuff going on. So like that opens up some of this. I will say, like, starting with the only con in traditional secondary fashions, like they had to make this as confusing as possible. Like I just wish just like this was one of the few things, like sometimes they give creators stuff in advance to see, and we like get to see it a couple days early or whatever. They didn't give us that. Like, they just said it was coming, get ready for it. And I wish they would have, because then it would have given us time to like understand better and then make, content on it to be their marketers for them or whatever, like we've done in the past. So I do that's a bummer, because I do wish, there was a bit more clarification on it. And I wish there was pricing on the specific pricing. That is like such a key detail, of course, protect your ass detail that they have in there, that they don't want to have in there, because it would help us really nail down the specifics. And I think it's what's holding back people going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I think if they had the specific pricing and we could do the math, we'd be like, oh yeah, right. But it's still really cool and fascinating and exciting direction. The no dupes thing is a huge win. Not playing the freaking roulette wheel that is the spotlight keys all the time is cool. They're releasing way more new cards though, so there's gonna be like there's just a lot to take in from that blog post and that photo that you have up.
I think that there's a couple things worth talking about. The first thing is obviously everything hinges on the cost, right? They're changing it so that instead of spotlight caches or spotlight keys, you're going to be getting 3,000 tokens. So tokens are going to be like the core currency of the experience. If you're not unlocking enough tokens, even through the collector's track, then suddenly the system does not work, right? So that's number one. The cost is going to be very important. I feel like they didn't include the cost because I think, hey, listen, I probably would have done the same. Send this out, get the feelers, see what people say. I don't think they know what the cost is yet.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to decide what the cost is yet. And so as a result, everything hinges on the cost. That is the most obvious thing. If it's set to be too expensive, then we're right up the creek again. They can't miss that, right?
There's no way.
They have to start at a reasonable price that allows people to progress. And the second thing, and this is what makes me actually nervous, Cozy, and you kind of did hint at it, is they did hint in their messaging that they're planning on releasing more cards. And I think that's part of the Series 4 discussion that they said, like they're clearly going to be releasing Series 4 cards. However, if they're releasing more cards, does that just reinstitute the hamster wheel of, oh, well, you still got to spend a fortune to get all the stuff. Like, I understand getting all the stuff is not necessarily supposed to be feasible free to play. Like, I think that's like the money hook. That's the business side of it. But if we want card acquisition to be improved, hopefully the targeting's improved. Hopefully the manner at which you're able to collect the tokens and translate those into cards that you want. Getting rid of all the gotcha mechanics is great. But if you're getting more cards, but there's just more cards to get and there's still holes in your collection all the time, are we just kind of looping back to plan A again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Because then you're still like hoping to get, if there's 10 doo-doo cards and you want Agamotto, it's like, how is that going to work? I want to say, I'm actually thoroughly, like, I don't think we've given enough, like, this is going to be cool. Like, I'm excited for this for the game massively. And I think this is probably going to be a big dubs. I'm putting it out there. We've had our pessimist behaviors with some stuff. I think this is cool. Step in the right direction. It's not spotlight keys, thank God. You got all that going for it. You can target cards. You're not going to have the dupes. Hell yeah. The custom snap stuff is insanely cool. So if you want to be a destroy player in the future, it looks like they're going to be doing like a destroy kind of custom deck potentially, or even consecrator stuff, which is awesome. In fact, that was mentioned as something that they might want to do a long time ago. So it's cool to see that even coming into existence now. All that's such a freaking dub. It just comes down to the numbers. Daily login tokens, what's that look like? What is that? How many times do you have to log in, open up a pack to get a free card? I think that makes a lot of sense. This is their shot. They're not going to get another one. They're not. Period, point blank. If people come back for this, which they will, which is a dub, they can't miss on it, right? Because they're not going to be like, okay, hold on, card monetization 4.0, because this is like 3.0 at this point, right? And so I think they're crunching the numbers still. But there is some, I wish we had a better look into those numbers. But that's why, dude, this isn't coming out till like January, whatever. Not January, pretty much June, right? I mean, that gives them a lot of leeway.
They did mention that the featured weekly cards are going to be less expensive than the current 6K.
Yeah.
Which would indicate that like the new release that you're after is going to be less expensive, and therefore it's going to be easier to keep up with some of the cards. It's just a question of how many cards are they actually releasing at any given time. Like, I don't know, but you're right. This is an absolutely huge win. And also they have to knock it out of the park because Marvel Snap's numbers have been going down, but don't kid yourself. Like, if you're one of those pessimistic, self-loathing, like Marvel Snap players, I think this game's dying and you're the only one propping it up. there's tons of people that play this game. Tons. It's still one of the most successful collectible card games on the app stores. There's a massive casual audience. There's a massive active audience, hardcore audience. There's tons of people playing this game. And if they can, one of the main problems is that with Marvel Snap, there is this idea and this common perception that the game is insanely expensive, the progression's hostile to players, and the monetization sucks. The card acquisition sucks. If they can change that, allow the word of mouth to kind of move and prosper, allow people who are a little behind or took a little break, allow them an opportunity to catch up, suck them in with crazy bundles of come back and play some Snap. We'll give you 12,000. I don't care.
Yeah.
Put a number on a massive amount of tokens. You're going to get to open 3 free packs of Series 5. I don't care. Get people back in the door, make the system work, make them love the game again, because everyone agrees it's the best playing CCG on the planet. It's everything else that turns them away. Don't make this turn them away.
Yeah, I think I have faith that they won't. I do. There's things I don't have faith in them in, and this one I do though. I think that they're going to do great here. That's the hope. Wish we had the numbers. I think the math is keep your keys. It just depends on the numbers, but it's like keep your keys because you get to target a card. A key's now 3,000 tokens, and so you get that every 100 something levels. So we're going to have to really math it out. It's like getting a lot of information without getting all of the specifics, and some of those specifics are pretty important. So we're going to have to hold out for that. But in general, no dupes, pre-selected stuff, and just more, autonomy to play what you want to play is a big dubs, especially in a game like Snap.
So it's funny you say this because we're going to have to revisit this, obviously, once we get the additional information, probably closer to the release.
Mm-hmm.
But for years, they've said, hey, we hear you. It's been the meme for a long time. We hear you. Well, finally, they actually listened.
Yeah.
And I'm not a game dev, but I know that developing games is hard. And this type of stuff takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of testing. And it's also difficult from a business perspective for them because they have to get the numbers right. Because if they make it too cheap, you ain't going to be able to make it more expensive without looking like an absolute clown, right? So you can always start a little high and bring it down low. So I think what they're trying to figure out is what is the right number, but also I think they're also incentivized to make sure they do get it right. If they whiff on this, Cozy, they're putting the nail in their own coffin. They are literally drilling their casket shut from the inside because they need to get this right, and only them can get it right? And so I do have faith, like you said. This is a team that's incredibly talented. The game speaks for itself. We just need to be bringing people back into the ecosystem.
Yeah, one last note I'll say too is them releasing more cards can be a little scary for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of faith in Glenn and the balanced team that it won't be a lot of just fodder. Man, that guy cares deeply about this game, and they showed that through OTA. So a lot of people are doomsing it a bit about oh my gosh, if there's 3 horrible cards, and then you want the one. I just feel like we haven't had that in Snap, right? Now, if that's what it turns into, then
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, wow. That was our first true meme card, pretty much.
Landmine, yeah.
But outside of that, I guess we don't get a lot of fodder cards, and that's why they decided 2 years to release Uncle Ben. You know what I mean? It's they knew, and so I have big faith in it that if anything, it's just gonna make it even more fun because you have way more cards to work with, archetypes to make, decks to pop off. You can target the ones you want. I don't think it should be less about having all the cards and more about now playing what you want to play. So there's just a lot of good that can happen from this, and I think it is, man. I'm excited.
The only thing is, though, and I'll tell you, is that releasing more cards into Marvel Snap, that's not a problem the game has. I think the card cadence and the release schedule is actually pretty good. I don't think releasing a bunch of Series 4 cards is actually necessarily beneficial to the game. If anything, sometimes I wonder about this, Cozy. This game doesn't really give its decks time to breathe. Sometimes I almost wish we had a week where nothing got released and I got to just play Classic Surfer and I didn't have to worry about the meta's changing again. Let me just play my Surfer, damn it. And so there's enough happening, and the game does feel like it's shifting enough. Even the OTAs and the patches, the game in the meta is constantly shifting. I don't think having to incorporate and release more cards was actually a solution we needed. We need to fix the card acquisition. Just don't turn it into a hamster wheel by releasing all these Series 4 fodder cards that end up filling the packs with trash. But then again, the other packs are going to be only Series 5. which are guaranteed non-dupes. So if you don't want the fodder, you just don't buy those packs, right? I guess that's the plan, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. This is going to be a big overhaul to the game and the UI and the way it works and our weekly schedule, the Snapchat even. It's going to affect the whole game in its entirety. So we're going to have to see how this how it all ends up, and hopefully we continue to get more and more information as we get closer, not just hold out till the release date.
Absolutely. And Cozy, I think that's going to bring us to our Snapchat mailbag there. And again, we'll revisit this conversation when we get more information regarding pricing and stuff like that. But for the Snapchat mailbag, sir, we got a couple questions that I thought were absolutely hilarious. And we start with one from Kodu17, which said, "Hey fellas, serious question for you. Do you think Wongers and Shongers would get alongers?"
I hate you and I hate him.
First of all, canonically, they do get along. Have you not seen Wongers in... Come on, man. Wongers is in Shongers. The movie Shang-Chi, he's in it. Come on, man.
I'll never forget the comment I got on one of mine is when you were talking about G-Man for 20 minutes, and I had commented it took him the whole episode to figure out who G-Man was. But yes, Wonger and Shongers. Man, if I had my window open, people would be like, what is this guy talking about for a living? But great. That is a great question.
That's a great question, yeah. But for the record, Shongers and Wongers do get alongers, most certainly. If you have not seen Shang-Chi, it's actually one of the absolute best movies in the MCU. How good is Shang-Chi, honestly?
It is. It's really good. I always say I think it starts out as a 10 out of 10. It ends up a 7 out of 10, but it's really good. The ending's a little crazy, but it's a really good movie. It's probably the strongest in the new ones that have been out.
Yeah, obviously a lot of people talk about the bus scene. I like the scene when he's running through that apartment building and he's fighting his former sensei. I thought, anyways, that whole movie's awesome. I absolutely
It reminded me of Rush Hour. Did you ever watch those growing up? Jackie Chan.
With Chris Tucker?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you're bringing me back in time.
Dude,
I remember Chris Tucker.
Rush Hour is an incredible movie. Movies 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic. Jackie Chan.
That's right. There's tons of them.
It reminded me a bit of that, just the stunt coordinations and when they're on the scaffolding and stuff. All of it was just really reminiscent of that.
It's you know what? That whole era of movies, you had Rush Hour, you had Lethal Weapon.
The Filter Fish.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Dude, it's too good. Too good.
Question number 2 comes from Averaged Data Enjoyer. I'm glad you enjoy data, sir. Marvel Snap has so many great details, like the logo of the cards' names, that even Cozy uses them in his Rivals videos. What are those details in Snap that you like the most? For the person who wrote it in, they said that they like the animation of Misery's tentacles when you place the card. It's so uncomfortable and it fits the card well.
I think I've done a lot of adverts, and one thing a lot of adverts love for you to say is the art style in their game and it's breathtaking. It's the same line. And most of the time, it's I say it anyway because I agree. It's it's pretty cool. But I've never had a game live up to, I think, Marvel Snap, but it lacks in marketing. Sorry. But what it lacks there, it just dominates in its art style and feel. It's just so perfectly done that I don't think anything has matched that. It's every little bit about the locations and the subtle animations and the card animations, the art, the variants, that is just unmatched.
When you play other games, or when I play other games, I find myself noticing that the art is not as responsive. Even small things oh buddy, you hover Shocker, and that effect is so good. I know you've probably not played Shocker the longest time. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome effect. And even the big banger ones, the Galactus animations and the high evos and even the Thanos is pretty cool. One thing I will say that kind of came to my mind with this question was, what's a detail that's missed massively? And I can't believe I never thought of it till I saw this question. Card backs are not animated. Those card backs should be animated. Honestly, Second Dinner, if you ever have an opportunity to go back and animate the card backs, do it. I don't know how much work goes into it, but it's one card back. It looks like it's way more work to animate every single variant in the game. Whoever's doing that, it looks like they have this unbelievable treadmill of work in front of them. The card backs can't be that much harder. Why aren't the card backs animated, man? Doesn't it make perfect sense?
Yeah, it does. I think agree that, and like we've already got the Game Boy thing a little bit, so combining those two, it's like, man, it's just a thing of beauty.
Our next question comes from Dark Angel, and it reads, "Hey Alex, if you're looking to get into another Marvel TV show with some more street-level heroes, definitely watch the first season of Jessica Jones. The character is great, but the villain is just amazing, especially if you or your wife is a fan of David Tennant's run in Doctor Who." I have no idea who David Tennant is, but have you seen Jessica Jones?
Yeah, it's fantastic. There are so many things you've missed that I would put above that, but the first season of Jessica Jones was amazing. Like, really good.
Okay. Man, listen, we just finished season 1 of Daredevil. We're starting season 2. We're in, like, the Punisher phase of season 2 right now.
Ooh.
And, like, it's pretty cool. It's also, like, way more violent than I expected. I'm like, this ain't your dad's Marvel show.
No.
I'm glad the kids weren't watching that. Like, I'm like, whoa, bud. Like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we're working our way through. But you know what? As I said, dude, this is amazing. My wife's actually watching it with me. I'm not forcing her. She's enjoying it. You guys called it. And the last question of the day comes from Ed5, and it reads, "Love the Snapchat. Are there cards you wish were better based on being more powerful in the comics than they are in Snap? A good example, in their opinion, is the Fantastic Four. I'm really hoping that we can get a new version of the Fantastic Four in Snap, as the current ones are lacking compared to their comic strength and power. Who comes to mind for you?" Cozy, there's an easy one for me. It's Kang. It's Kang. Like, come on. Like, that's the obvious layup answer. Kang is, like, I just finished saying that one of my favorite comics ever is Kang, Only Myself Left to Conquer. And he is garbage in Snap. I cope. I play Kang. And people are like, "Buddy, he's coping." I am coping, damn it. Like, we'll just give this guy something.
Yeah, it's got to be Kang. Scarlet Witch, too, is my number 2. I think Scarlet Witch could always be way, way, way better. And just, like, a regular OG Strange. It's criminal how, like, useless. Give his sorry-ass effect to somebody else. Like, it's fine. It does its job. But, like, I want Strange to have, like, such a more meaningful role in Snap.
You know what Scarlet Witch should do? It should be Cersei, except it changes every card on the opponent's side, every card on your side, and every location.
Like, oh my God.
Well, you don't like that?
I still love the banish. You get locations in your hand. You get 2 of them, random ones. You can play them and they banish and they turn into the location.
It's actually a nice idea too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
There's so many ideas, Cozy. Listen, we have left a lot on the plate for Second Dinner. Get the card acquisition right. We're excited for Snap Packs. Animate the card backs. And we'll see you on the next one.